started out with a run. Coming to the near side is Gibson. Big hole, first down and more. And a good start for Antonio Gibson, who comes off a career week in the win over Seattle. Blitz is coming. AnnaK back foot throw. McLaurin in stride for the first down. Beauty of a throw from AnnaK as pressure in his face, and he picks up 13. On the fake, AnnaK floating one. Anton, oh, one-hander! Caught for the touchdown by Thomas.
Go through him.
Four-man rush. It's blocked. Carr jumps into Drake, and it's knocked away, and it's incomplete. Cameron Curl was there, and it looks like the Raiders will send on the punt team.
They have had a high-scoring offense. We've talked about how they can throw the ball.
Washington to run. Gibson gets a block on the outside, and it springs him from Leno, and he's got a first down. Oh, he got a great block from the former Bear Charles Leno. And a nice pickup of 16. What a shot, what an atmosphere here this afternoon. Glad you're with us. See if the Raiders can get something going. Four-man rush, Derek Carr in trouble. Down he goes, and a penalty flag, too. Allen got home. You wonder if that was low on the hit.
With the penalty in the first downs, you're thinking points here all day.
Carr floats one. Dangerous. Jacobs is buried for a big loss. The Raiders playing without the great Darren Waller today. Jacobs, I mean, he has nowhere to go. Spins around, just gets buried. I think that's the problem, Greg, is that every time the Raiders have tried to get the run game going, really all year, they just haven't blocked it that well. 3rd and 11. Blitz is coming. Carr in trouble, and down he goes. Ioannidis got home. 2nd and 3. Carr firing. Moreau again, knocked away. Cole Holcomb, excellent play. On the fake, AnnaK. Mid-range, Thomas. Big gainer. Inside the 20, they will mark him out of bounds right there, as a matter of fact, on the 20.
He's really struggling.
AnnaK slings it sidearm. Gibson is caught for the touchdown. Personified by Johnson. Could be the last play of the game. Carr, can his arm get him there? Throws it deep down the field. It is incomplete. No flags. Washington wins it.
Everything we do. Understand this more than anything else. Okay? Understand this more than anything else. We can do what we want. We do what we want. It's up to us. Nobody dictates to us. Okay? Nobody does. We decide. You want to decide? Jack! Where you at, Jack? All right, we took the PJ to thank
That's right. It's Monday night. Sports on the Hill podcast, True Radio Network. And for the 4th week in a row, we got a victory Monday with the Washington football team. You just saw the highlight video of the game yesterday. We're going to talk about in the bottom half of this hour. We got DujunneaB clicking in to join in with us. We're going to talk about that. We also got a lot of live action going on tonight. We got the Capitals in a heated battle with the Anaheim Ducks at Capital One, tied up at 3-3 with 16 minutes left in the 3rd. We got the Washington Wizards down 104-92 to Indiana on the road with 6 minutes left in the 4th. We got the Monday Night Football game with the Buffalo Bills going against the New England Patriots for the division lead. Patriots up 11-7 in the second quarter with 10 minutes and 34 seconds left to go until halftime. So we got a lot going on tonight. We got a lot to talk about tonight. But as always, I got to thank you for tuning in and joining the show as always. Episode 251. We appreciate y'all for tuning in for 250 and all the fun we had with that show. And definitely reminiscing on all of the good times we had. But we're having some good times in DC sports right now, especially with the Washington football team on a 4-game winning streak. I can't wait to talk about that in a second. But this has been an interesting game against Anaheim, Anna's team, second team, I should say. And the first period, Capitals had a 1-0 lead. And actually, the second period, Anaheim came out, scored in the first 9 seconds, and it's been going back and forth ever since. We're going to break this down, give you any live updates. But we're going to talk about the week that was. But first, Anna, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. And Jet, I will have to say, I'm going to have to correct you. My second favorite team is the Sharks.
Sharks. I knew it was, I thought it was Anna. I knew it was one of them. I thought it was Anaheim.
Something in California.
Yeah, in California. It was one of those teams.
It's all good. It's all good. So, no, I'm doing well. I'm excited that I only have, as of tomorrow, 9 more teaching days until I get my Christmas break. So, the kids are crazy, the staff is crazy, and I'm just along for the ride.
I understand. I'm in a crazy environment at the dealership too, so I totally understand and feel your pain.
Yeah, it's just, you're just like, what the hell? But I will say, I watched that Washington football team play yesterday. I am just excited for you guys. I truly am. Like, you know what? It's just, it's like one of those teams that you're just like, it's such a good field team. So, and Ron Rivera, just what a fantastic coach. Although, of course, my Niners lost, but that's okay. But I watched the whole, so I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to have to like just, go through this so fast with the hockey and be like, 2 losses and this and that, and then get you guys to just gloat about that fourth win. That's so fantastic.
Definitely. Not another big week versus the Cowboys. So, it's definitely going to be interesting week coming up. But like I said, we got some interesting hockey. As you mentioned, the Capitals went 1-1 last week out of the 3 games. 2 of the games, I was a little heated about, and me and Robbie, we were talking after the game. But we're going to get it because, we've seen tonight, inability to hold the lead when they have a lead. We saw early in the season being able to lock it down, but we've seen other teams being able to push back and be able to, get the game time goal and sometimes game winning goal. So we're definitely going to talk about some of the issues that we saw last week, and hopefully be celebrating the Caps' victory tonight by the end of the third.
I hope so. And again, I'm going to go off of your TV because I'm sure I'm still in some sort of intermission or something. So we'll see what happens. But we will jump into the last week. Unfortunately, we've got to talk about that Florida game. Although the positive, no, okay, sorry. It's like, this is probably from 10 minutes ago, and I'm like having my delay. Connor McMichael, love it. Opening the scoring at 5:52, assisted by Jensen and Orlov. Malenstein, who I'm just starting to think is like a favorite player of mine. I really, really, really am liking this kid. He gets his first goal 11 seconds later, assisted by Leeson and TBD, which is awesome. Panthers score to close out the first. Second period, Lars Eller gets his second at 6:40, and Nick Jensen scores at 12:40 with assist by Hagelin and Dowd. So now we're at a 4-1 Caps lead. And then we just kind of fell apart. And this is one of those WTF moments where you're like, hey, we've got this, and we only have one more period to go. And then all of a sudden, the third period, all Panthers, and somehow the Capitals lose 5-4. And if you start to look at the stats, and the big frustration was big old time when it comes down to shots on goal. So you have Capitals in the first period, 12, Panthers 15. Okay. And then 13 and 9. Okay. Third period, Capitals 2, Panthers 27. What the hell? this was just like I'm speechless. It's like, I think if I was a coach, I would have lost my shit in the locker room for sure on, that whole, getting a little too comfortable with the lead and letting easy things slide. And I just was shocked. It was a terrible game. And I don't know what happened, but definitely in the third period, they fell apart. They did not play anywhere near 60 minutes of hockey.
Pissed off, couldn't put together my true feelings about this game. Being up 4-1 going into the third. Okay, Florida is the top home team in the league. They just lost their first home game of the game before. But the fact that they had control of this game 4-1, I didn't get a chance to watch it closely, but I was, checking it out. And they had pretty much control of the game, but then Florida came out in the third, just like we saw Anaheim come out in the second and score 9 seconds. They didn't score that fast, but you saw that Florida, they were ready to make a push. They, they coach, got them right, got them ready to come out there. And, they always say the most dangerous lead in a hockey game is a 3-goal lead. And they found a way to tie the game. And I was cool with that until they got the fourth goal in regulation and basically stole 2 points from the Capitals. Because I wouldn't have minded. As long as they went to the overtime and get a point, cool. But the fact that they gave up 4 goals in the third and
it was terrible.
Weren't able to get a point, that was ridiculous. I was hot. I was upset after that because there's no way that this team, how well they have been playing and how well they have been, keeping the shots down, only giving up, a goal, 1.67 goals when they were on that streak, and then turn around and give up 4 goals in one period. That's totally unacceptable, and they definitely got to, get back on track to what they were doing before when they were, playing solid defense, stacking the neutral zone, and getting the four. I haven't seen an effective forecheck from this team in a few games now, so they haven't been able to throw their weight around like we're used to seeing them and wearing the teams down, and that's where they're getting this push and getting a nice turnover. Ooh, Ovi just missed it. Had a nice turnover. He stole the puck, got a shot off, and unfortunately was wide. And they're getting some pressure. Kuzi's behind the net. Passes to Ovi against the wall. Made a good defensive play on Anaheim to break up the play. Force an offside. So Capitals trying to get a little push to get the lead back and earn get the 2 points in this game. Rob, you mentioned, earlier Wilson scored his 100th career point or goal? I couldn't remember.
Goal, yeah.
100th career goal earlier to start the scoring off for this team. And he was involved in a fight where, unfortunately, momentum swung the other way, and that's when Anaheim got their 2-goal push in like a 2-minute span. And we're just waiting for him. I have a feeling he's going to get an assist to Ovi for the game-winning goal to get to go to the whole way.
I hope so. Oh my God! And that would just be, and go ahead and throw the assist and get another Ovechkin goal. And I will say, I do apologize. I said when I was talking about the Malenstein goal, I mentioned TVD. I don't know why TVR. I was talking about Trevor Van Riemsdyk. So apologize for that. But yeah, that game was terrible. Put it aside. I'm pretty sure after seeing post-game body language. We'll just put it that way. Laviolette was not happy, and it sounds like he just kind of ripped into the players, and rightfully so. It was terrible. Shots on goal, 27 versus 51. I mean, come on. It was like, that's just awful. So we'll see. But anyways, you want to talk about that Blackhawks game? I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I saw that. Another game I was pissed off about because let's go ahead and talk about this Blackhawks game.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same way. So I'll say the Caps welcomed the Blackhawks. Man. So Chicago scores the only goal in the first, but I will say it was great to see Nick Dowd back in the lineup. He scores his third with a tip-in at 1:10. Chicago scores at 12:57, but Kuzi ties it up at 17:31, assisted by Ovi. Potential, absolutely. Excitement, 100%. And then I don't know what happened. Third period, Hathaway scores just 57 seconds into the third period, followed by the Blackhawks tying it up at 11:56. Were you there for the shootout?
Yeah, I watched this shootout. There was a lot of posts involved in this game.
It was the memes that came out afterwards, I would have to say, were pretty hilarious, where it was just, the 3 stars of the game, and it was like goalposts from like different angles. And it's like, you know what, you're right, because it was just like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
Shootout, we had Kuzi missed, Sprong missed, Ovi shoots, it's a save, and then here you go, Patrick Kane. Nah, like what else did they expect? And so of course he scores. But I will say shots on goal in this one was 100% even. They were 28 and 28 and 50% and 50% with the face-off. So this is like actually a really cool match that we only, I think, are seeing them one time. I think I would have liked to have seen us play this team again because it kind of causes a little bit more of an excitement. In regards to playing against like a Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane, but whatever. I don't obviously do the schedule. Nobody cares about my opinion. But I think that this was the game that truly kind of lit the fire under the Capitals going into the next game. Because this was, the first game was just kind of pathetic. And then this game was, they tried, but they went up against an opponent that is damn good, and they could have won, and they didn't. So they got a little fired up. So when they were ready to play the Blue Jackets, we finally saw what we needed to see with the Capitals.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago has been playing better. They started out, not as everyone expected, losing record. Fleury is definitely improved. I think they said before that game, the last 4 games, he had like a 1.67 goals against. So if he was getting posts like he was against us, I know why his goals against average went down. Because it was just crazy how many posts got hit in that game, in that third, and in the shootout, we had, 2 of them. And it's like, like they say, it's a game of inches, but just the fact that they weren't able to hold the lead against a team. They're surging, they're playing better. They got some their players back that were injured, but you still have to be able to sustain that push and not give that lead up. Luckily, they were able to get a point because they had another game with no points. I'd have definitely been ready to turn my TV over, probably like, what are these guys doing? Where did this come from? They were just running, everything was going smoothly, and then all of a sudden, we having these hiccups and them not being able to hold on the leads like the Caps of old. So,
Right.
Yeah, it definitely, like you said, Laviolette already had a reason to be pissed off the game before, and then, to give up, the lead several times against Chicago. And instead then to lose in the shootout, lose the 2 points, cannot have that happen, especially at home.
Absolutely. And thank you, Robbie Gross. You are 100% correct. I was not looking at the future calendar that we do play Chicago one more time coming up on the 15th. So I apologize. I don't know, like I feel like I'm just sort of, oh, hey, this is what it is. And then someone's be like, no, it's not. So what are you talking about, Anna? So thank you, Robbie. I appreciate it. That's why we need you here. keep me in check. What is it? So, Carol, what's the time left for this game?
Still 7:35 left in the third. Still tied up 3-3.
Okay.
Caps have possession of the puck. Oshie's at the red line. Just fumbled the puck, was trying to get it in deep, but they turn it over at the blue line. Sherry comes in at the wing, gets it to the point where Orlov winds up. Missed it wide, run around, going back into the defensive zone for the Capitals, regrouping. Jensen's behind the net, coming out. 7 minutes left in the third. Nice pass to Kuzi. Oh, no, that's not Kuzi. I'm sorry. The line change is Hagelin. It's Sprong. The line change on. I didn't catch it. There's a stoppage of play. Puck went out of play. So, yeah, we're trying to get this late goal in the third. Trivia question, Alex Ovechkin has scored against 152 different goalies in his career. He is tied with two other players in NFL 7th in NHL history. Who are the other two players? Teemu Selanne and Mike Gardner. Hey, thanks, Joe B. and Craig. Luckily, we got some perfect time. Now let's get into the victory, the lone victory of the week for the Capitals. Their most impressive game of the week, definitely.
Absolutely. Saturday evening, we have the Capitals playing the Blue Jackets. Here we go. Protas scores the only goal in the first, assisted by Schultz. Fantastic on just really loving how much Protas has just sort of made a name for himself very, very quickly. 3:12 in the second. Here we go with Alex Ovechkin getting his 20th, assisted by Carlson, and his 750th overall. I have nothing to say. I mean, truly, I am speechless on and I've said it ad nauseum that we are watching history in the making, but wow, it is so awesome. And I love the fact that, he's happy for 3 seconds after he scores and hugs his teammates, and then it's back to work. There's no over the top antics. You just gotta have nothing but respect. I mean, God, it's amazing. So going back to that, sorry. So now we're at
51. Now he almost had 751 right there. He had a turnover and he wound up in the one that just was off for the net a little bit. He's shooting when it's getting on his stick. He's trying to make something happen. Kuzi coming into the zone. He threw it in front. No one was there. Excuse me. Anaheim rewinding. 2-on-4. Capitals pretty much got it snuffed out. And got back fast on that one. So it's 5 minutes left. Still tied 3-3. So I just had to give that update. Ovi almost had 751.
No, please do. Like I said, I don't know. My cable is just so delayed. It's ridiculous. So now we're up 2-0. Third period, Columbus scores their only goal. And then we have Garnet Hathaway scoring his 7th at 18:33 with an empty netter. Unfortunately, with this one, it was yes, a fantastic game, but that face-off percentage was just so cringeworthy. We're looking at 65.9% with Columbus and 34.1 with the Caps. So it's just something that needs to be worked on, a weakness. But that 750 goal, I just feel like that's just going to drive the team. And I love the fact that when Ovechkin is interviewed afterwards, he's like, yes, fantastic. I think I scored against that goalie's dad, which was amazing. And then he's like, okay, moving on. It's just I don't need to be the focus. It's about the team. And you just can't have better sportsmanship or admiration for a player than someone like Ovechkin. So definitely loved this game.
Ovi, you know how much I love Ovi. 750 goals in 1,222 games, second fastest behind Wayne Gretzky, of course.
Yep.
It's amazing what he's doing at the age of 36. He has more points at this point in the season than he did at any point in his career.
Right.
Just think about it. This man scored 65 goals in the season, and now he has more points than he had at any point of his career. That means he's becoming more of a complete hockey player, and he's still
absolutely,
and he's still physical. He's still scoring, and now he's getting even better with the assists. It's mind blowing what this guy is doing. I said on the show last night at the bar radio, and I was talking about Ovi. I like this man should be crowned the greatest DC sports athlete ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But this game against Columbus, Columbus, they play a physical game like the Caps do, metropolitan, team. They pretty much dictated the pace throughout the whole game.
Right.
They did give up the goal. It was close to being a shutout, but it made it interesting going into the third. And they pulled the goalie, and they were able to, get the empty netter to secure the win. A regulation win, get the 2 points, and that propelled them into the top spot in the Metro. Even though they had a 1-1 in 1 week, they're still sitting at the top and second in the Eastern Conference. So it's it's just funny like that with all the parity and all the how tight the division is right now. But for the most part, the Caps are playing good hockey. They, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, we weren't expecting them to come out, like they did when 15-4-6. Who would have thought that? But they're playing some good hockey. It's 4:26 left in the third, and they're looking to get a late goal to secure the 2 points from this game. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this team, gets back together, especially with Nicky. They said that he's been skating this week.
Yeah.
And like I said, Dow, he's out for the COVID protocol.
Hathaway's out. Yeah.
And I totally forgot about Mantha with him having shoulder surgery. He'll be coming back hopefully maybe around the All-Star break or after the All-Star break, maybe sooner. I'm not sure. But there are a lot of pieces that still, aren't here, key pieces, and the team is still, doing what they're doing. So there's a potential for this team to, get it together and, go on a nice long run, and you never know what might happen once you get to the playoffs.
Absolutely. And I think that a lot of the fans, including myself, were sort of like, oh, what's going to happen going into the season with so many young players coming up. But I was always a big supporter of young players and vet players and how they mesh together, and the guidance and the skills and the energy and all that kind of stuff. So I think that that's what I truly look forward to, and I have not been disappointed with any of the new players, for sure. And then, of course, we have the goalie situation. So, hey, if Sammy's going to prove himself, great. I'm okay. I'm never going to say, he was terrible or whatever. I will say I had my doubts, but of course, we'll see what happens. And okay, so body language, was that for this game or was it for the end?
They had a golden opportunity off the face-off, and they're getting some pressure with 3 minutes left. They almost had a goal. Oshie, he went hard to the net off a clean face-off win, but they wasn't able to get it home, and the Caps had some pressure for a second, but Anaheim was able to sustain, and the Caps had the puck, ran number 52. I can't remember. That's one of the new guys. That's a thing. They got so many guys. I don't even know half of these guys there. They're in the offensive zone. Anaheim's coming out 1-on-4, dumping it in deep. 2:44 left. Caps got possession. Orlov is coming through. Loses the puck in the neutral zone. They recovering, dumping in deep. Thought he said it was offsides. 2:33 left. I guess it'll be coming back to the neutral zone. So, yeah, the Caps. Let's go ahead and get into the upcoming schedules. We get ready to get into
Sure thing.
football.
Yeah, I see Dujunnea's on. That's awesome. Real quick, so obviously we have this game tonight. We did lose to Anaheim on 11-16 in overtime, so hopefully the boys rally even without, Garnet Hathaway with the COVID protocol. Friday, Pittsburgh. Oh boy. But you know what? It's a rivalry. It's at home, and I think the team's just they're gonna rally. Which I'm like, I don't feel so about the Penguins as I used to. I think there are a couple other teams out there that are definitely showing their skill and talent that we need to be more concerned about. I'm a little bit concerned that the Friday game is home, 7 p.m. against Pittsburgh, but then, Friday against Pittsburgh, and then Saturday it is at Buffalo. So, and not that it's like a huge, it's just a New York flight, but still. So we'll see what happens. And that's about where we're at right now. And I think that at this point, we're just going to keep hoping that everyone is healthy, playing as well as they are. I think at this point, I would really love nothing more, of course, than to see Gordie Howe hat trick for Tommy, but I would love to see Vanacek get an opportunity to win between the pipes, because I feel like he is so defeated, and that's a terrible headspace to be in. So hopefully he can get there and get a win. Oh my God, if he got a shutout, that would just be fantastic. But let's just start with baby steps. And that's it. So I'm hoping for, we're going to rally in the next little bit. But again, my TV is so delayed.
We got
Pittsburgh. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, it's under a minute left. But we're going to end up going to overtime.
Okay.
Late push. Oshi's coming out. Coming through the neutral, got it into the zone, got a nice pass. Oh, he almost got it across. Obi was freaking down the other side and would have had a wide open net. Another shot on goal, deflected wide. Olaf pinches down. Got Eller taking a shot. Oshie in front and puts it between his feet. He couldn't get it clear. He tried to backhand. No one was there to get it in. Olaf's at the blue line. 21 seconds left. Vacated the zone. Jensen's at the pass to Olaf. Olaf gets it in deep. Got Oshie against the wall. Anaheim's pressuring. Got it against the back wall. Oshie shot from an all wide angle. Now you got Anaheim coming down with a second left, going to overtime. So yeah, perfect way to end the Caps talk segment. The Caps get a point going to overtime. They had a late push, had a couple opportunities to try to get it in. They had the goalie scrambling, but weren't able to get it into the net. So they'll be going into overtime, 3-on-3, and hopefully the Caps can get that point. And I'll let the folks know what you got going on with PowerPoint play this week coming up.
Yep. So PowerPoint. I'm like blah, 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 blah. Power Play Point podcast. You can hear us on Podbean, and of course on probably the best thing to do, honestly, is to find us on Facebook, because we're always looking for callers, and that's awesome. And so it's just Gil and I, and we're on Sunday nights, and we're just talking Capitals. So that's just awesome, and thank you for the plug for that. Looking forward to, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm looking forward to seeing Pittsburgh, but we'll see how the next couple of games go. I think tonight's going to be a big mood setter for the rest of the week, and I think it can only get better. So let's just hope. I don't know. I'd like to see a Jensen goal. There's just a couple of players that I'm like, come on. And then, of course, for you guys, I hope for the Washington football team, you got some good stats to talk about. And you said they're playing Dallas on the week on Sunday.
Dallas week. Dallas in first place. Washington in second place. Dallas is 8-4. Washington 6-6. They play them twice in the next 3 weeks, and for the division lead. So yeah, we got a lot of good things to talk about, and from the last 4 games, and looking forward to the upcoming game. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%. Well,
everything.
have a great show, and know that I'm totally pulling for you guys because as a Niners fan, we've always hated Dallas, and that goes way back into the '80s. But yeah, so that's awesome. DujunneaB, have a great show, and I will talk to you guys next week. Let's hope for some W's on the Capitals end.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. All right, Anna, appreciate you taking the time out and let you go. You can catch the overtime. I'm gonna be watching it and see how it goes. And I'll talk to you next week.
All righty, take care. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Dujunne, you can come on in. We can get ready for this Washington football team talk. This great victory Monday, 4 weeks in a row. An impressive victory on the road on a short week against the Las Vegas Raiders, who have been playing, in the AFC West and was, in the fight trying to get their playoff position. Um, First drive coming out, scoring a touchdown. I was talking in the pregame. I was speaking about the 15 scripted plays and how most teams can get the score on the first drive because they scripted, and after that they have problem making adjustments and boom, boom, boom. And we kind of saw that. We saw the running game. We saw balance and sticking with the game, running game, and opening up things in play action. We saw defense, dictating the pace, holding down the Raiders, who, Derek Carr's leading the league in passing with 3,400 yards, averaging over, and every time he scored those over 300 yards, they win. And when they don't, they lose. Well, Washington kept that fact in check also. And it was just a good team victory. They played 60 minutes. They didn't give up. They did what they had to do to win. And for the second week in a row, have a final score of 17-15. That's kind of crazy. But I'm going to welcome in DujunneaB to give some of his quick insights on the beginning while I share the show to some of the Washington football groups and see what they have to say about this glorious 4-game winning streak heading into Dallas week with a huge game against the division-leading Cowboys that could really get some momentum going for this team. DujunneaB, how you doing tonight, brother?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Of course, when Washington is winning, business is good. So, they look really consistent right now.
That's a key word that we haven't been used to saying about this team. We've seen them be consistently bad. We've seen them be consistently inconsistent. But to actually see them being consistently good is something we're not used to. And a lot of fans still finding things to complain about, even though they're on a 4-game winning streak and, are in the fight for the division. And, 5 weeks ago, they was talking about firing the coach and tearing the team apart and all this other stuff. So it's definitely good to see the progress, like I say, week by week. Once again, they led in time of possession. They outrushed them. They had more plays than them. They held them down on the third down conversions. It was just a beautiful thing to see, especially on the road, this team being able to, deal with, the injuries, deal with, a couple of crazy things happening in the game, and still being able to keep their composure and find a way to win on the road. That's a testament to coaching. That's a testament to the guys taking it serious and about being about their business. And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely. Shout out to the fans. Like,
oh boy,
there's a lot of burgundy in the Death Star. I love that stadium, by the way. It's a cool looking stadium. But the Washington fans turned out in the Death Star. I think it was like the first score to see all of the burgundy and gold all around. I was like, wow, fans turned out for this game. And I know a lot of my colleagues are also pushing for fans to turn out for FedEx and not allow too many of those blue and white and all that them star jerseys to be littered all over FedEx. And there's something to be something to turn out for. 4-game winning streak, and I know a lot of people there's always something to complain about for some people. But this here is a statement win. It's also a character building win. And I say that because sometimes you're gonna have these games where they're 10-6, they're 13-9, 17-15 here. You're gonna have to gut out and grind out some wins. They came out, scored 7. It wasn't really a fact that they were unable to get things going. You just got to give the Raiders defense credit. Got to give credit where credit is due. And both defenses really made some adjustments. They did some things when they needed to have them to stop each other's offenses. And then there were times where we saw both defenses kind of give up the ghost a little bit, playing a little bit off as far as the secondary is concerned. You see some confusion, linebackers getting caught out of position, and the ball moving down the field accordingly. It's just nice to see the Washington football team come out on the side of a win. I wouldn't have been mad if they lost this game for the simple fact that I think these are the type of games you have to win. But when you win them, it really does help the overall character of this football team. You know what I mean? It gives them something to realize, to establish that they can do pretty much anything. And sometimes, like I said, you're going to have to win these close games. You're going to have some gritty games that you're not going to put up a lot of points. You're going to move the ball, and sometimes you're just not going to put up the touchdowns and the necessary things that you want to put up. But your defense grinds it out, guts it out, continues to get the ball back for you. And, you have to, like Washington, really taking a lot of time off the clock in a lot of spots when they had the ball. And that was helpful. And this is really a building block that now can catapult them into this tough stretch of the season where they're going to be facing a lot of their NFC East foes. So I don't think anything better could have happened on Sunday. We've seen there's a lot of stuff that just we haven't seen with this football team, and it's pretty exciting to watch the growth and maturation process continue as they continue to learn. I think my favorite spot in this game was Taylor Heineke takes an unnecessary shot, and the offensive line didn't think that was too kosher, and they let the Raiders defense know that. It's time. It's time to play with a little attitude, and it shows that these guys are behind Taylor, but it also shows that these guys are playing together as one, and they're playing for each other. And that's very important. But the most important part is that they have a lot of momentum coming into a very important game for fans. And as it comes down to division and rivalry of these two teams, they have a lot of momentum coming into this game. And being that the Cowboys to me are a fickle team that are Jekyll and Hyde. And I really don't think what you saw last week from them is really their true identity. I think they're somewhere in the middle. What a weekend. What a weekend for Washington football team fans.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely going to be huge with the game against the Cowboys next week. We definitely want to talk about that towards more of the end of the segment. I'm going to go over these numbers because numbers do mean a lot. They don't mean everything, but they do mean a lot. And just a quick update on the Caps game. They're gone to the shootout. Anaheim has a shootout goal. Capitals missed their attempt, so not looking good for the Capitals in overtime right now. But getting back to the victory Monday, Heineke was 23 for 30, 196 with 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Derek Carr was 28 for 38, 249, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Antonio Gibson, 23 carries, 88 yards with a 3.8 yard average. Josh Jacobs, 13 carries, 52 yards with a 4.4 yard average and a touchdown. Logan Thomas, who we're definitely going to talk about in his injury, his season-ending injury. Luckily, I've read reports that it wasn't as bad as
it is not.
They thought it was ACL and MCL, but apparently it's not as bad as they thought it was, and what the timetable for his return isn't as lengthy as they thought it would be. He had 3 catches for 48 yards, 16-yard average with a touchdown. Hunter Renfrow had 9 catches, 102 yards, with 11.3-yard average for the Raiders. Team stats, yards, the Raiders gained 310. Washington gained 289. First downs, Las Vegas had 22. Washington had 23. Third down conversions, Washington was 7 for 13, which is impressive for the offense. I went over numbers of the pregame. I believe they only had 34%, 36% for the season. So, being above 50% is always a good thing. And the Raiders were the lowest rated third down percentage team on defense. So, like I said, something had to give, and the Redskins Washington football team offense didn't let us down. And the defense held because the Las Vegas Raiders went 2 for 8 on their third downs. There were no fourth down conversions in the game. Washington had 112 yards rushing and held Vegas to 76. Washington had 186 passing yards. The Raiders had 234. And time of possession, Washington had the ball for 33 minutes and 43 seconds, and Vegas had it for 26 minutes and 67 seconds, which, as I always say, time of possession means you're wearing the opponent down, you're running the ball, and you have the ball, and you're letting your defense get rest and not being worn out like we've seen our offense do to other teams lately. So, I mean, we're seeing the maturation of the coaching staff, of the players, and the execution has been very impressive from this team, especially with the way the season started. And got to take your head off of Del Rio after losing Sweat and Young, and making the adjustments. And we're seeing more stunts, we're seeing more twists, we're seeing more pressure, and just folks that still hating on Collins. You had to notice his difference of him not being out there yesterday, because when he was out there,
it's a huge difference.
Yeah, there weren't any. I didn't remember seeing any missed tackles yesterday. Man, they were grabbing that air and not wrapping up and doing things that we hadn't seen in the last couple of weeks. But Jamin Davis, I want to give him a shout out. He made some misplays and he also made some plays. Some folks are complaining and talking about he's a bust. I keep on repeating, he was a 1-year starter. He has the athletic gifts and skills to play the position, but he's still developing. So he's going to make some mistakes and he's going to make some plays. It's not going to be perfect, but we found the way. Just the same way the Washington Capitals just found a way to win the shootout 4-3 and to get the 2 points from the Anaheim Ducks. So good to see the Caps be able to get those 2 points after they gave them up when they were out Anaheim last time. So yeah, that was a perfect segue, perfect time. Yeah. So DujunneaB, from this offense, we've seen Heineke improve week by week. We saw an interception. I don't know what he was looking at. I think they said the ball might have got tipped. I think that's what it was. It looked like the
ball was tipped. His arm was hit, actually.
All right.
In that one.
Okay. Well, he's been playing, pretty clean football. He's been, like I said, he had the turnover. Last week he had the unfortunate turnover. So, I mean, for the most part, he's been taking care of the ball. He's been making great decisions. He's been protecting himself, sliding when he needs to, getting out of bounds when he needs to. And, for the most part, has been playing some headsy football. What's your impression of this on this 4-game winning streak and how this offensive team has been dominant? What's your impressions of this team going forward into this 5-game stretch against division opponents that can, they control their own destiny. If they can continue to stay hot and win these games, they could go on into the playoffs as a division winner for back-to-back for the first time in the NFC East since 7 or 8?
Yeah. I like Taylor a lot. I like his attitude. I like his moxie. I know a lot of people could, trying to talk about him sailing balls high. Well, I'm gonna break down something for you. Okay. Now, there's at times he does have some balls that are high. That throw, he comes out, that he breaks out, some Houdini magic that he does again, gets out there, throws it high to Logan Thomas. Now, you're going to say that ball was high, right? Well, if you're paying attention, there's a linebacker or a safety or corner that is below underneath Logan Thomas. Now, if he sells that, if he throws that thing the way it should be as a dart, he's going to jump and pick that off. The under guy is going to take it. So he had to get it over that guy, but get it high enough to where his guy can make a play and only his guy can make a play, and it doesn't get picked off on the backside of that. So it's a tough throw. It was a tough throw on the run. He put the ball where it should have been, and Logan Thomas just had to come down with it. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. And often you'll find that you'll think that Taylor's throwing a high ball, but he's really putting the ball where it needs to be so that it doesn't get picked off. Now, that pick that he threw, if you go back and watch it, I mean, all you had to do was see the replay. You may have been too busy complaining about the fact that he threw a pick to see the instant replay, but his arm was hit. And if his arm wouldn't have been hit, he likely would have hit a deep ball because they were breaking down. He had it. They had the route, and I believe that I'm going to go with Scurry Terry to make the play. So, if he doesn't get his arm hit, I think he makes that play. But I like what Taylor's doing. I think, what's so awesome about him is that this guy, it seems like when the pressure's on and they're collapsing the pocket and he gets out of some, with some magic and gets out of some would-be sack and makes a play, or he takes a shot and makes a play, the dude just gets even more hype and more focused and just more willing to he's going to gut you every chance he gets. It's insane. And when he takes off and makes a play with his legs and gets a big first down, it's like it just fires him up. It fuels him. And I like what, and the team is truly feeding off of that too. The way the offensive line is playing is remarkable. I need Sheriff to stop doing the boneheaded stuff though, man. You're like a Pro Bowler, dude. Like these weak false starts are jokes. Like do something that's worth getting a penalty over. Like that's not worth getting a penalty over. But I'm loving it. I'm loving what they're doing. And this balance has to stay this way. And I really think they have the ability to mix some things up with what they're doing. You see Dyami Brown getting involved. You see all these different wide receivers getting opportunity. Humphrey's now starting to get involved in the offense. And I think that's helpful when you can throw it around to several different guys and it's giving Terry an opportunity to make those big plays when they are there and make them count. So I believe, what's the guy's name? Carter, who's also the returner. That he's another guy that's a threat deep. But these guys are balling out for him, and this is what you want. Is he the long-term solution? I've said this time and time again. I'm not sure. I think he gets that opportunity whether you decide to draft. Obviously, I'm on the side of if you got a guy like Russell Wilson's caliber that's out there, you can't just sit up there. I'm not for mortgage in the future, though. Let's get that straight. I'm not for that. But if you're going to be able to get a guy like that for a decent price, then I think you do that. Other than that, though, he's definitely a guy that can start for you. And let's be real, you don't get rid of him, even if you were able to get a MVP caliber. I don't want to say like Aaron Rodgers, but you know what I'm saying, a top 5 quarterback, top 10 quarterback in this league. He's definitely a backup, and you're going to find out this year that teams are going to start, doing a better job of drafting backup quarterbacks because we talked about this. There are not 32 backups in this league that are even worth being backups. Okay, so I think they're in a good spot. I like what they're doing offensively. It seems like Scott Turner is starting to find his niche and get his groove. He throws some screens in there when I understand what he's trying to do, but they just don't. That's just not what you needed right there. But I'm not going to argue too much. I think he's doing a hell of a job in these last 4 games. And if they can keep this up, man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun getting towards the end of the season because let's face it, the teams that they're facing, in this 5-game stretch. Outside of the Cowboys, you don't know who the Eagles are. The Giants are meh. And so they have an opportunity to take advantage of some things. And I understand the Giants are meh, but they seem to be all world when they play the Washington football team. So we'll see how this all shakes out. But they're in a good spot right now. And it's exciting to watch them play.
Yeah, with those screens, I think the screens were well called. I just think that Gibson sometimes doesn't have the patience to wait out his block. Like we saw when he had the one early in the season, the 75-yard when he broke, he had the patience to wait for the blockers to set up. That one that one of the ones yesterday, if he would have just had a little bit more patience and wait for that block to set up and cut inside, he'd have been gone to the races. So he's mixing it in there because he, like you said, he's setting his play. Now he's starting to set his plays up. And then once something starts working and then they go to the run blitz, that's when he wants to pull the screen out to the wide receiver or to the running back. Just, no more tight end screens. I'm tired of that shit.
Nah, we don't have a blistering tight end out there. You don't have no Tony Gonzalez out there, so we don't need to be doing that.
Yeah, I definitely like what he's doing. I definitely like that he's sticking with the running game over the last 4 weeks. Antonio Gibson has the most carries of any running back in the NFL. He's actually leading the NFC in rushing yards right now. So,
but give Gibson some credit too. It seems like in that first game of this 4-game stretch, there's been a different style. There's been an attitude adjustment. Like this dude's running on me, like J.D. McKissick type running, and he sticks his foot in the ground. He's looking to like hurt somebody. He has the quickness. He's hitting the hole with the quickness. He looks quick in the hole, and when he's getting in there, man, he's physical. He's being very physical. It's definitely been a change the way that he's played. I don't know if JD's going to be back, but man, give the ball to Wendell Smallwood some more. I mean, we all know what Wendell Smallwood can do. He gutted up Washington a couple times with the Eagles. I like what that guy brings to the table, and he definitely could be a guy that you can use in the screen and gadget game as well. But they're set, man. It's wild to think what we were looking at earlier in the season, the first quarter of this season per se, maybe first 2 quarters, and to see what we're looking at right now is just it's amazing. But again, it's a testament to good coaching and guys finally buying in and getting what they're being coached to do, and they're growing. So that's a good thing.
Definitely, that's the way I see it. The way took them a little while to figure things out and get it together, but they're getting, like I said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. They're getting hot at the right time. They're figuring things out at the right time. And, folks were complaining about the 5 division games at the end of the year. And that could be a good thing because depending on how the season goes, you're still in it. Those games are going to mean something. And depending on how the other teams have been playing, it's going to be interesting 5 weeks in the season. So
yep.
You never know what's going to happen, especially with the NFC East. And this team has been playing, lights out the last 4 weeks. Nobody's giving them a chance. Everybody's gone against them. And I forgot to tweet out earlier, but Mr. Cowboy himself, Michael Irvin, out of 3 of the last 4 weeks on NFL Network, he's went against the Washington football team as his lock of the week. I think that lock is broken, bro. And he was already hyping up the Cowboys this week for the huge matchup next week. He was
he a homer.
Yeah,
he can't help it. He can't help it.
The fact that you're picking other teams to go against us and making them the lock that we're definitely going to lose. I hope he makes it the lock of the week this week for the Cowboys versus the Washington football team.
I hope he does
be a
too.
Guaranteed win.
Hope he's that lone wolf too. He can howl all he wants, and then he can eat that big slice of humble pie. Because he's been eating it for 4 weeks.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what this team does. The media is going to react to them, if they beat the Cowboys, 5-game winning streak, got to give them some type of credit. They're not giving the Washington football team any credit. They're
Nah, not as much as they should be.
Yeah, they're playing down.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah, it's sad. They had a 2-minute segment on NFL Network today, and only thing they showed with the Washington football team was Johnson hitting the field goal.
Field goal.
That was it. I was like,
it's pretty disgusting.
Really?
It really is.
Okay.
But it's expected, man. It's expected. And that's cool, though, because that means that the football team, and I don't think Rivera's going to even allow his guys to be doing that, but they can't be reading the clippings and listening to, all the positive talk. So they can still have that little chip on their shoulder as they continue down the stretch. So that's important. That's important to have.
Yeah, the defense has been playing better. I'm still waiting for them to start getting some more turnovers. But they've been getting off the field on third down. The week before they had 5 straight 3-and-outs. I mentioned they went 2. Defense went 6 for 8 on third down conversions this past week. Even with Landon Collins being out, you had Jamin Davis, making some plays. You had Cole Holcomb making plays in coverage. Now, if that man start making plays in coverage, that man going to be all pro linebacker in this league because he's already quality on the run game. He's already quality on the tackling. Now, if he can start covering these tight ends and running backs, man, we got to steal at him in the 5th round pick. No bull.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's pretty remarkable what this defense has done and the transformation they have made. I mean, right now, Washington is 3rd overall in opponents' rush yards per game, only allowing on the 2021 season, they're allowing 91.3 yards per game. In this 3-game stretch, last 3 games, they've allowed 73.7 yards per game, and they only allowed 76 in this previous game against a really quality, running back. Their third down conversion or conversion opponents' third down conversion rate has significantly gone up. We talked about it. It was in the 30s. They were down 32nd in the league in that department, and they're still 32nd in the league in that department as far as opponents' third down conversions. But they're at 50%. They were at 50% for the 2021 season. In their last 3 games, they've only allowed a 27.57% conversion rate by their opponent. And on Sunday, they only allowed a 25% third down conversion rate. And if you put that in the last 3 games, Washington is 3rd overall in opponent's third down conversion rate, behind Kansas City and the game that is on tonight, the New England Patriots. And that's pretty impressive. And in their last one, as right now, this game is not final, so these stats for the New England Patriots will be adjusted, but they are number 1 in their last, going back to just last Sunday with the 25% conversion rate. Kansas City only allowed 28.57 on Sunday night. So that's pretty impressive. This defense is amazingly doing well. And to allow what they allowed at that 25%, they were missing Landon Collins. Now you have a linebacking core that really struggled, that was out there, that really has struggled in coverage. They've kind of struggled at times in making sound tackles in the run game. I thought that was an area where they were missing some tackles during the game, this game as well. But they also, when they didn't make plays, they recovered and made plays. And like you said, Cole Holcomb making plays in the passing game is pretty impressive. And it's a possibility they could get Montez Sweat, possibly get him back. Not sure if he's going to be in practice, but that's a possibility. They're hoping to get Landon Collins back. That's a possibility. So they could get a few guys back, and especially Landon in this defense. They might be able to start. They might be able to get some turnovers this week. We know Dak has been pretty good at giving a few to the opposing team this year. So, this defense has been impressive. very impressive. And in the areas that we complained about, they have made a 360-degree turn in that department.
Yeah, it all comes down to the game planning with Del Rio. The one thing that I love during the bye week, Coach said that we're reevaluating every player and every coach game plan and schemes that we use. So he went in there, did what they had to do, had the conversations, had the tough talks, and told them basically, we're going to get this thing together. And that's what they've done week in and week out since the bye week. And
what, you mean preparing during a bye week? What?
yeah. Who would have thought
we're not out partying and getting drunk on a bye week? We're preparing?
Hitting on young ladies at the bar. Yeah, none of that. They were actually doing football stuff and actually doing, learning from their mistakes and not being so much of a egomaniac to admit that, okay, we have some flaws, we're going to fix it, and we're going to be better for it. And that's what we're seeing from a true football coach and a true football team, with a man that doesn't mind having folks that have, as much football knowledge or more football knowledge than him around. You have to be
it's impressive, man.
You have to be able to learn and have to be able to adapt to the situations. And that's what he's doing. He's adapted, got Landon to move down to the box. You got Cam Curl, who's a playmaker out there, making plays week in and week out. You got the pieces in. You got Kendall Fuller back, Bobby McCain. We've seen week in and week out these guys making plays. McCain had a pick against Brady. Fuller had to pick on the 2-point conversion last week to stop the, so it wouldn't be a tie game. So we're seeing all the pieces come together. William Jackson, who folks were complaining about before, you ain't heard his name called in 4 weeks. You know why? They're running more man coverage because that's what that man does. Ain't been no penalties. Ain't been no blown coverage. Ain't been no long bombs on him. Why?
That's what he does in Cincinnati, man.
Exactly.
That dude was a beast in Cincinnati, and they finally got him playing the way that he plays and what is his strength, and he's doing an excellent job.
That's what it's all about. See, only folks want to talk about the players when they make mistakes, but they don't want to give them shout-outs when they're doing what they're supposed to do. And the front four, getting pressure. Ianitis got a sack. Allen getting pressure up the middle. Payne doing his thing. The two ends, Shaka Tony when he's got in there. Hill, Smith, what is it? Smith, what? I can't remember.
I forget it. Smith's. I can't forget his other last name.
Smith Williams or William Smith. It's just the depth and the talent that's on this team is showing through. And if we get swept back, that'll be great. Chase is gone for the season. Logan is gone. Then you got John Bates, the rookie. He's stepping up, making plays. Hopefully, Ricky Seals-Jones will be back. Then you got Samus Reyes. He's been out there getting some go. I haven't seen him really make any catches, but he's been in the 2 tight end package, especially yesterday once Logan was out. So the depth is showing through, the talent, and the leadership from the coaches that had these guys ready when it's their time to go in. I mean, we were down to our 4th center. You know what I'm saying? And still playing good ball, still running the ball, still controlling the line of scrimmage. And Sheriff, I told you, I'm done with him. Bye. Don't give him no more money, no more franchise tags. Send him on his way back, and I'm done with him. $18 million. He plays 11 games in the season and gets five penalties at the wrong time. He's a talent, but he's not. To me, he's not worth more than $18 million a year. If he didn't take that contract, then let him walk. Schweitzer, he'll be back. We got depth at the guard position. Have a battle at the training camp, and the best man plays. And just like now, the next man up. If he doesn't effective, bring somebody else in. Herb Flowers been playing good to the left guard. Gotta do what we gotta do. But yeah, I'm ready for that dude to be gone, man. I'm tired. He reminds me of a certain quarterback, a stat pattern quarterback that gave Detroit their first victory yesterday.
Mr. Curtis Cousins.
The guy that went to a team that was at the NFC Championship game, robbed them of $90 million guaranteed, and ain't sniffed the championship game since he's been there. When you have one of the top wide receivers leave your team and go to Buffalo, that should tell you something. It wasn't our organization. We told you once and we told you again. Kirk Cousins was the problem. Wasn't the organization.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a nice guy to know how to play the game. That's why I can't wait. I spoke about yesterday on After Bar Radio. Really going to touch on it. I know Arun's waiting in the wings, and I got to mention my boy RG3 in his book. So I can't wait for him to drop some of them nuggets about the old Mr. Anonymous source himself.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I can't wait either. I'm gonna go ahead and hit on this Logan Thomas thing.
Go ahead.
Look, I've looked at this play repeatedly, like since yesterday. And all these people talking about a tackle box. I went and looked through the rule book. This is how. And there's rules in there about a tackle box. But when you watch Logan Thomas, there's a tight end box, there's a tackle box. He comes in to where the linemen are. He's clearly making a block, and he didn't have to make a block because there was nobody there. But to go that low on someone was uncalled for, and to me was a flag. It was definitely a dirty play. I don't want to hear anything about that. It's a tough game and it's a violent game. Yeah, I know, but that's clownish. Like, he was just making a block. I mean, so that means that because he's in the tight end box, that basically you're telling me that I can go cut somebody like that at any point in time. And I can tell you right now, I don't care. Tight end box don't apply when he's worked his way back in where the center is on that play. He's in the lineman box. The last time I checked, you can't cut a lineman like that.
They got flagged for
at
last
all.
week. They got flagged for last week.
Yeah, at all. So I don't understand this whole tackle box. Below the waist is one thing, but it was clearly a knee target. He went low, not waist low, low. And I thought that the NFL also had a target zone where you're supposed to be doing all this stuff at. See, I hear y'all throwing around a lot of stuff because you heard some jackwagon on TV repeat some garbage. But I can tell you right now, I went and did the research. I went and looked at all that little amendment and article this and that. And to me, the crap don't add up. When you look at the play, if he was out there, still out there as a tight end, you telling me he can get away with that, but you can't do that in the trenches? That's just wild to me. But since you want to think that that's the case, go back and look at the play. He works his way inside. He's way inside of that tight end box. He's in there by the center and guard on the left side and gets mowed down at the knees. It's a trash play. And old boy didn't even try to attempt to make a block. He went immediately low to cut Logan. That's all I'm going to say. But it's trash. That play is trash. He should be fined and suspended. Because if you're allowing that, if I'm a coach, it would have been the very next play I'd have cut his behind. Exactly like he cut my play. Simple as that. If it's legal. And we all know that ain't legal.
Yeah.
So I want to see something done. Fortunately enough for Logan, it's not a complete tear. They're doing more evaluations, but the initial news is a lot better than what was initially thought. But there's no reason why this man should be going through this at all. He was clearly trying to make a block. He wasn't even a part of that play. He was not a wide receiver on that play. He was a blocker. So it's a violent game. Absolutely, it's a violent game. But you're also a scumbag if you do crap like that inside the tackle box and know daggone well you ain't supposed to be cut blocking nobody.
Yeah.
End of story.
It was a dirty play. I went back and looked at it myself, and he just went straight forward, like he had a problem with him, and he was trying to be dirty and shit. It looked like a dirty play to me, so we'll probably see him get fined tomorrow. I thought if they're going to give him a suspension, but you'll see the letter come out after reviewing the film and reviewing the tape. This was a legal play, and we're going to fine him. That's probably all it's going to amount to. If it was somebody, on another team or Tampa Bay, then yeah, they made a big deal out of it. But being a Washington football team, you already know they're going to sweep it under the rug.
Yep. So, like I said, terrible. It was terrible. It was ugly. And to me, it was a little bit of get back because they got penalized for old boy picking up AnnaK and driving him into the ground. I know people don't act like that's an unnecessary roughness call, but you pick a quarterback up and you drive him into the ground, you WWE like slam him into the ground, that's a wrap, son. That's a flag every time. That Deron Payne one was not a roughing the passer call. Just saying.
Hey, man,
We seen worse than that.
Exactly. You know how it is. I'm not even gonna get
Yep.
into it.
I ain't get into it either. I just want to clear that up. I'm tired of this tight end box crap. I ain't got time for that. I went back and did the research. You might want to do that yourself. I don't mind even sending you the pages of the rule book. So it don't matter to me. But I'm gonna tell you right now, that was trash, and that should have been a flag. Period.
I totally agree, man. You might just want to go ahead and post it on your page and just tell them to shut up, man. But let the folks know what you got going on. I know I got the NBA roundtable waiting in the wings to talk about the Wizards week that was and the loss they took tonight, 116 to 110 to Indiana, dropping them to 14 and 11. I definitely got a statement to drop before I pass it over to them because I've been noticing things since Bradley Beal has come back that his team hasn't been playing as effectively as they was before. So I got a question for the roundtable, definitely about that right there. But let the folks know what you got going on and coming out this week there, bro.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about the Washington football team and this Dallas Cowboy matchup on the Not Bland show. I'm also going to talk a little bit about this Wizard stuff as well. I'd like for you to ask them from me, Carol, why is it that Bradley Beal, when he is not hot, can't understand that he needs to give the ball to those folks that are hot because he's messing up the rhythm. That's all I'm going to say on that. But that's what we got going on. We're hoping that we'll have another breakdown show maybe this week, likely next week. But that's about it. I'm kind of winding down. It's my off season after NHRA is over. Do a little covering of football, but it's my fun time. So I don't go too hard in the paint, but I love coming on and contributing here with you, Carol, and I appreciate it, man. You guys can follow me at NotBland21. Love talking shop with you guys. And again, Carol, appreciate you having me on.
Hey, man, no problem. Appreciate you taking the time, man. Enjoy, and I'll holler back at you in a little while, man. Take it easy.
All right, brother.
All right. Now go ahead. DCsPeoplesChamp. I know Arun is in the building. I know we got Tim in the building also. I know you heard DujunneaB with his question. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to piggyback off of that. That's one thing I said I noticed. Since Bill has been back, I haven't seen the same defensive intensity. I haven't seen the same hustle. I haven't seen the same 48 minutes of play. So, I mean, sometimes they say, addition by subtraction, when players come back, chemistry gets thrown off. I'm just wondering, is this going to fix itself in, games once everybody figures out their role, their minutes and all of that? Or do you think this is going to be a continuing issue for this team trying to get Bill on the, same page or get them playing like they were playing before? Because I don't see the same team I saw earlier in this season.
Yeah, no, DJ asked a very good question about that, and I feel like Bill might still be affected by the fact that he lost his grandmother recently, and so that might be what's affecting him and stuff like that. But I think once he can kind of push through that, I think he'll be fine. But appreciate the question and appreciate you, Carol, for this, and everybody who's watching. Thank you for joining us. This is the Wizards Roundtable. I am your special guest host for this segment, DC's People's Champ, sitting in for Brian Brennan, who is taking the week off, and hopefully he will definitely be back next week. I am also joined by the rest of the roundtable. Of course, we have our own Tim Clark. Tim, how you feeling, man? I know yesterday was a letdown, my guy, but how you feeling, bro?
Not too great. Not good for the Wizards tonight either. But I mean, hey, things could be worse. Still breathing. So got to look at the bright side.
That is very true. Yeah, sorry about the loss yesterday, bro. I was rooting for you guys all the way. And of course, we have our stats guy himself, the one and only Arun Bhattacharya, with his Sheba in the background. Arun, how you doing, my brother?
Not bad. Not a great Wizards week, but hopefully they can bounce back.
Absolutely. It was not a very good Wizards week. week. Only 1 at home and 3 on the road, and they are currently in the midst of a 3-game losing streak after tonight. We're about to talk about those 4 games, and we will begin that talk with that win over the Minnesota Timberwolves on last week. They won 115-107. It started off the first quarter, they finished with a tie at 24-24, but then the Minnesota Timberwolves were able to take advantage and gain a 4-point lead at 57-53 at the half with a 33-29 second quarter. But then the Wizards in the second half turned it on, 38-31 in the third quarter, and then 24-19 in the fourth to finish it off with an 8-point victory. For the Wizards, Beal did have 19 points. KCP had 14. Gafford had 18 points and 10 rebounds for a double-double. And Montrezl Harrell off the bench with 27 points in 21 minutes. He was unstoppable against the Minnesota Timberwolves. On the Timberwolves side, Karl Anthony Towns had a double-double, 34 points and 10 boards. Anthony Edwards, he contributed 25 in the loss as well. And it was a really good matchup and a really good win for the Wizards. So I'm going to start with Tim. Tim, how did you feel about this game and the performance, especially by Harold off the bench?
Yeah, Harrell had a really bad game in San Antonio. It was kind of crazy how lifeless and lacking energy he was, and the whole team really feeds off of his energy. And I think when he comes in off the bench, he really sparks the second unit, and he played an amazing game. Also, Bertans had one of his few good games this year, which is great to see because he's been hurt and out, and they really need his scoring off the bench. But I was kind of worried about this game just because the Timberwolves were ahead a lot of the second half, and Towns played really, really good on the offensive end once he got going. But, they did lock up the defensive end at the end, and they were really clutch. This was a feel-good win. They have struggled recently, but this was one of the few games they really came on strong in the fourth quarter and closed it down. So that's great to see. Not the best game by Beal necessarily, but they had really balanced scoring. So they were able to overcome it.
That's right. And you mentioned Bertans. Bertans had 15 points off the bench, off of 5 of 6 from the field, including 3 or 4 from three-point land. So a really good game for Davis. Arun, how did you feel about this win for the Wizards against the Timberwolves?
Very solid win. The Timberwolves are playing really good basketball. They had won 6 of their last 7 games, but as you guys mentioned, Harold came up huge. His 6th game with 20 or more points. And Gafford did a good job slowing down Karl Anthony Towns. Even though Karl Anthony Towns did leave with an injury off the slam dunk, he swung and got hit in the back when he fell down. So that's unfortunate, but still a good win for the Wizards. I think they were going to win at that point. And D'Angelo Russell, he was pretty bad for the Timberwolves. 1 of 12 from 3-point range, or 1 of 12 from the field. I was glad every time he was shooting it, he was not deferring to his teammates, and a good win for the Wizards.
It was a good win for the Wizards, but then the fortunes would turn for this Wizards team as they went up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and this one didn't go well for them. They lost 116-101, and it wasn't even close. Cleveland got out to a 34-29 lead and hardly ever looked back. They scored 31 points in the second quarter to the Wizards 17. Then after the half, they continued to lead when they had 34 in the third to the Wizards 26. The Wizards only outscored them in the fourth quarter 29-17, but by then it was long too late for them. It was not a good one for the Wizards. Gafford struggled. He only had 4 points. Kuzma only had 12. Beal only had 14. Denny Abdia was actually the leading scorer with 16 points off the bench. Harold only had 7. Holiday had 11, and Neto had 13. So it was a struggle for the Wizards in this one. And for the Cavs, Jarrett Allen actually led the scoring with 28. Well, was one of the high scores for the Cleveland Cavaliers with 28. While Garland had 32 points for Cleveland. So I'll start with Arun. Arun, how did you feel about this loss for the Wizards against the Cavs?
Not a good effort by the Wizards. They did beat Cleveland in Cleveland, but Cleveland was looking for revenge, and they took it out early on the Wizards. Spencer Dinwiddie with only 5 points, 4 assists. That's not going to cut it for a starting point guard. Remember, last year we had Russell Westbrook getting these triple doubles. In this game, the offense wasn't there, neither was the defense, and this game wasn't even that close. The 29-17 fourth quarter wasn't helped the Wizards make it look better than it was. And Beal 6 of 17, only 14 points, and as you mentioned, Denny with leading the team with 16 points. That's never going to get it done. If your leading scorer is 16 points, you're not going to win a game. So Cleveland looked like they were the much better team. The Wizards need to really have Dinwiddie step up, especially when he's playing with Bradley Beal.
Yeah, absolutely. DujunneaB actually shot 60% from the field, including 50% from beyond the arc. So it's crazy that happened. So, Tim, your thoughts on this loss for the Wizards at home after such a good win against Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean, we talked already about Beal being too aggressive and not passing and taking too many shots, but Dinwiddie has the opposite problem. For some reason, the past week or two, he's not looked for a shot at all. He's had games where he's made no field goals, barely scored, not scored at all. He's just a completely different player and not looking to score. And, just a few weeks ago when they beat the Bucks, he hit a lot of huge threes, and they really rely on him for scoring. And I don't understand why he's not looking for that shot anymore. They do have more guys healthy and more guys that want to get shots, but they do need him to score double digits, I think, to be successful. So I don't know if it's a coaching thing or it could be he's not completely healthy because he is coming off of an injury and still taking some games off. So I wonder if he needs a rest. But, your two starting guards are not really playing well, and they're not looking for shots at the right time or shooting too much. So everything's out of whack. And this particular game, it was just over in the third quarter. We made Kevin Love look pretty good, which is kind of hard to do these days. And it was just ugly. I guess people stuck around for the Ludacris concert, but it should have been empty by the third quarter.
I think I said it to you guys in our group chat that you can't get run out of your gym when you're about to have Ludacris perform after the game. And they got ran out of the gym when they have Ludacris performing. And one of the stats before we move on to the next game is that the Wizards got out-rebounded in this game, 54-33. So that's another way that you're not going to win games if you're not getting those boards and preventing them from getting second chances. So there you go. So we move on from this loss and we head to Sunday, where the Wizards visit Toronto, where the last time they were there, it didn't go very well. And this time around, it still didn't go very well. Raptors winning 102-90. Toronto outscored the Wizards 23-12 in the first quarter. And then in the second quarter, it was a high-scoring affair, 70 combined points in the second quarter, with Toronto outscoring the Wizards 40-30. The Wizards were able to kind of claw back a little bit in the fourth quarter, but by then it was a little bit too little too late, 26-21 in the third. Fourth quarter was 22-18, but again, it just was too little too late. Again, Beal kind of struggled scoring. He only had 14 points in 34 minutes. KCP did have 26 points to lead the team, but him and Beal were the only ones that were in double digits. They didn't get a lot of scoring help on this one. Pascal Siakam had 31 points to lead the Toronto Raptors, and Van Vliet had 10 as well. They had 5 players in double figures. That's what's going to get you to win games like this. Tim, I start with you with this one. How did you feel about this one, especially coming off the letdown route of Cleveland, going into Toronto and having this result?
This was really disappointing because the fourth quarter of the Cavs game was actually promising, especially on the offensive end. Obviously, Cleveland let up a little bit, but the Wizards were moving the ball really well, I thought, and Denny was scoring and Neto was playing with pace. And so I thought, well, at least if you get blown out, you make the score respectable and you have some momentum for the next game. And to put up 12 points in the first quarter is just pathetic. And clearly, the team is kind of in a mental funk right now. And it's not only Beal's fault, although he's part of it, but just to not get anything from your big men is going to kill them. You know, Harrell or Gafford has to score a lot of points for them to win. And if they're both off in a game, you know, that's kind of disaster right there. So it's not what you like to see. Just Wizards playing really terrible first halves and kind of just making it respectable in the second half lately. It's a bad trend because it kind of seems like they're not prepared and ready to play.
Right, yeah, that is true. And Gafford, Kuzma, and Harrell combined for only 19 points between the three of them in this game, so you're not going to get it done there. Arun, how did you feel about this game? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, even following that first quarter where the offensive output was bad, they managed to screw up in other ways. In the second quarter, they gave up 40 points, and I think this game felt like it was over after the first half. They did manage to play much better defense in the second half. They only gave up 39 points in the second half, which was less than they gave up in the entire second quarter. So, but the top three highest players on the team did not play well. 14 points for Beal, 9 points for Dinwiddie, and 2 points for Bertans. That's not going to get it done. And I think like the big men, the defense needs to be more consistent. Gafford, we're singing his praises just a couple games ago, how he played against Karl Anthony Towns. Siaka made his lunch, and Harrell didn't do much better, 6 points, although he did have 14 boards. But the Wizards aren't knocking down their threes. Bertans wasn't. The Wizards really do miss Garrison Matthews, who they let go. So I think if they'll keep struggling if they don't score over 100 points.
Sorry, I was muted. So we move on to tonight's game, where the Wizards visit the Pacers off a back-to-back. So this one was one I worried about, and sure enough, the score doesn't even indicate how much this game was not close for the Wizards. They lost 116 to 110, but the Indiana Pacers jumped out to a big lead early. They started off with a 28-18 lead after the first quarter. Then they outscored them 30-29 in the second. The Wizards tried to make it respectable, but they only outscored them 31-30 in the third, and then 32-28 in the fourth quarter to make it loss. You did have 6 players in double figures. Bill did score 34, so he kind of woke up a little bit. Gafford and Kuzma all had 14. Holiday had 11 in the starting role at point guard. Harrell had 11 off the bench, and Kispert actually had 10 off the bench as well. But again, defensively, they just weren't there. Sabonis had 30 points in this one, and it was just not a close matchup, as close as the score would indicate. Arun, I'll start with you as always with this one. How did you feel about the performance of this Wizards team tonight?
Overall, not a really good effort by the Wizards. Again, this is like the third straight game in a row where we can say, yeah, this game wasn't even that close. It's the fourth quarter garbage time just made the game even closer. And Beal actually had a monster game for him. 34 points, 12 of 19 from the field. Got to the free throw line 10 times, but even when he was on the floor, they were outscored by 9 points. Denny had some good minutes as the backup point guard, but Neto, 1 of 6 from the field, wasn't playing much defense, taking way too many shots and not making them. And the Wizards did shoot less 3-pointers, but they're only 7-15 from deep. I think not even taking threes is probably not going to get it done, especially if you need to score more than 116 points. But the defense was definitely off. Sabonis, yeah, you mentioned what a great game for him. 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists, and not to mention 3 steals. That was the key to the game. Gafford, even though he was great offensively, 7 of 8 from the field, he has to do something to slow down Sabonis, especially since Harrell's not really going to be that great defender. And I think this is the portion of the season where maybe if the Wizards centers don't step up. Thomas Bryant was there post-game in the Wizards studio, So maybe he can give the Wizards a boost for Rui Hachimura. But otherwise, either Dinwiddie needs to step up, or this trend is going to keep going on where they keep losing games.
Yeah, that's very true. And one other point there, I want to see what Thomas Bryant had to say in the post game. I want to see that. And also, the Wizards continue to struggle from beyond the arc, 9 of 23, 39% from beyond the arc. They need to have more points in the paint, honestly. Tim, how did you feel about this game?
Yeah, I kind of agree with what Arun was saying. I mean, early in the season, the Wizards were playing so well, and they were so deep with wing scoring and just a lot of players coming in and out at the forward. I didn't think they were missing Thomas Bryant Jr. at all as a backup center, or Rui really, but I think they definitely need Rui scoring at this point because, I mean, Bertans played 3 minutes tonight, 0 points. They are giving Kispert a lot of play, and I like it because I think he's got potential and he could be a good player for them. But I don't think he's ready to be that scorer that they need. You know, somebody's always going to be off. They're just not that consistent. And to have a trusted double-digit scorer off the bench is huge. And that's why they paid Bertans, and he's just not able to do it. So I think Rui would get a lot of minutes. And, you know, they could still find minutes for some of the other guys, but they would just stop playing Bertans, and that would probably help. But they've never been able to defend Indiana, even though they've beaten them a lot. The last couple of years, they've never held them down at all. So they just weren't able to outscore them like they have been able to. But just something about Sabonis, Indiana, Wizards can't stop them.
Yeah, they honestly can't stop them. And I watched this game, most of this game, and it just was not close from at all. Even though they only lost by 6 points, this was not a close game at all. So that was the week that was for the Wizards this week, a 3-game losing streak that they are in. They have one more road game going up, and then they have a home game, and then they start a West Coast road trip coming up. So we're going to preview these next 3 games. And as always, when we do that, each of us will pick a game and talk about it before we finish things off. So first, they will have the Pistons on Wednesday in Detroit. That will be a 7 o'clock tip-off for the Wizards. Then they will come home. They will have 3 days off, and then they will come home and play the Jazz at Capital One Arena. That'll be a 7 o'clock tip-off on Saturday. Then a day off for travel, and then they play the Nuggets to begin their West Coast road trip. That'll be a 9 o'clock tip-off, which means that when we do the Wizards Roundtable next weekend, we will be having a live look into that game. So we will each pick a game and talk about it. So I will begin with Arun and let you pick either the Detroit Pistons game, the Jazz game, or the Nuggets game.
I'm going to talk about the Nuggets. They're actually kind of similarly struggling compared to the Wizards relatively. They're 11 and 12. They just lost to the Chicago Bulls. This is a winnable game for Washington, given all the injuries that the Nuggets have had, even though I guess Michael Porter Jr., he's out for the season. Murray, he still hasn't come back. And I guess Jokic has been pretty inconsistent this year. Like, he's been an MVP, but he only had 17 points in this game against the Bulls. But he's definitely capable of putting on a show, and the Wizards need to game plan around him. But I think the Wizards can win against the Nuggets, given their lack of depth, if they get back to their winning ways that they were prior to this losing streak. But Spencer Dinwiddie definitely needs to step up, and hopefully Beal. I believe the Wizards did sweep the Nuggets last year, so hopefully they can win this game against Denver.
Yeah, it would be good for them to get this win over Denver, because looking at the schedule, it would be not only be the beginning of a West Coast swing, it's a 4-game West Coast swing, but it's the beginning of a 6-game road trip, not only on the West Coast, but on the East Coast, which we'll get into in future episodes. Tim, which game would you like to talk about, Pistons or Jazz?
I'll talk about the Pistons, mainly because I think this is the most winnable game. Clearly, this is the worst team that the Wizards are playing this week and for a while. So the Wizards absolutely have to win this game. I just checked the standings. The Pistons have only won 4 games, and they're in last place in the East. So, They're very young. Cade Cunningham is a really good rookie. I just checked. I think he scored 28 points last game, but they lost. So they have some young players that can score. According to Google, Kelly Olynyk is there. So he's an old friend of the Wizards. He crushed them in the playoffs. So you always want to beat him, and I still hate him for that Celtics team. So again, the Wizards cannot come out slow. I think a team like that, with young players, if you give them life, that's when they have a chance to win. You have to snuff them out in the first half. So they really need to come out and win the first quarter, and then I think they'll win the game. But right now the Wizards can't take anybody lightly.
Absolutely. They cannot take anybody lightly. I will talk about the Jazz game because looking at where the Jazz stand in the standings in the Western Conference, as I say it all the time, this game scares me. The Jazz are third in the Western Conference right now. Rudy Gobert is averaging a double-double per game so far this season. And if guys like Gafford or Harold struggle defensively, Gobert can have a hell of a game and really pop off with a double-double and really help the Wizards. So there's got to be a concerted defensive effort to keep Gobert under control and not get another double-double like he has clearly done most of the season. So if the Wizards want to win this game and head out west with some momentum, they got to start it with the Jazz because they're going to play the Jazz again in this West Coast swing coming up in Utah. But get that momentum now by keeping Gobert under control, keeping him from getting a double-double, and making sure you play solid defense. Make sure you get solid scoring from all your guys, not just in the middle, but most of your point guards, Beal and Dinwiddie. So you got to make sure you get the points from your guards as well. And so that's it for the week that's coming up. The Wizards, it looks like it's going to be a tough one for them with the one game with the Detroit Pistons, but it should be a pretty good week for the Wizards. Hopefully they can break this 3-game losing streak. They can get back to what they were doing. Before we go and before we end off our Wizards roundtable, I was the one that answered the question of DujunneaB about Bradley Beal. So I wanted to get you guys' answer on that question that DujunneaB asked about Bradley Beal. And I'll start with Arun with that one, and then we'll go to Tim, and then we'll end things off. So Arun, do you think that Bradley Beal, something's got to be done with Bradley Beal when it comes to him being too aggressive and not giving off to the hot hand and trying to score all by himself?
I think the problem with Beal is actually that he's just not making the shots that he used to make. He hasn't scored as many points. Last year he's averaging 31 points per game, and this season he's only averaging 22 points a game. It's the worst scoring average since 2015, 2016. In the last 5 years, he actually increased the scoring average, but nobody probably expected him to score 32 points per game this year, but he's scoring nearly 10 less points per game. The new rules definitely are having an effect. They're not calling as many fouls on all point guards. Guys like Damian Lillard are struggling. James Harden is having a down year. But Beal is actually averaging more assists this season, partially with Westbrook out of the lineup, but Westbrook averaged triple-double, meaning he averaged 10 assists, and Beal's only averaging 1.6 assists more. With Dinwiddie's not really carrying his weight, getting into the paint like Russell Westbrook was, and he's not knocking down his threes. And Beal's actually shooting 26% from three-point range. That's pretty awful. I think it's probably even worse. The only guy I think is worse is Bertans on the Wizards that actually takes threes. So Beal's a career 37% three-point shooter. He came in as being compared to Ray Allen. He needs to fix that three-point shot. His mid-range game is fine, but this is the new NBA where you need to knock down your threes, and I don't know why Beal hasn't really been knocking down his threes. Maybe it's a new ball, and he generally does start the first half of the season slow. But the Wizards definitely need him to step up if they want to do better than just getting the play-in seed.
Absolutely. Tim, what about your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just have to let shooters shoot and get out of their slump. You don't want to hurt his confidence. I mean, I don't think you really can because he kind of is the alpha dog of the team, and he's going to shoot no matter what. And like I said, I think Dinwiddie deserves a lot of the blame too, because I think if he was more aggressive and also hitting more shots himself, that opens up a lot for Beal and the rest of the team. And when you know your point guard is not going to take a lot of shots or go to the hoop, and you know that the off guard shoots a ton, I mean, it's easier to defend him because it's becoming predictable too. You know how many times in the second half do you kind of know Beal's going to ISO, he's going to take some contact. Last year he would have got 2 shots. This year he just misses, and he complains a ton. I mean, he always has, but he's definitely frustrated. So I think you just have to let him play out of it. Hope that Rui comes back and some guys start shooting better, because the whole team's shooting terribly. But I don't think it's just Beal. And I think he will get out of it eventually.
Yeah, I'm looking at Spencer Dinwiddie's stats right now. He's currently averaging 13.4 points per game, so that's not going to get it done much when you have someone like Beal, and everybody knows that Beal's going to try to shoot the lights out. So, and I gave my answer at the start of the segment that Beal does need to rely more on others to be able to score as well. He shouldn't put it all on his back, especially when he has Harold in the lineup off the bench and things like that. So that's it for our Wizards Roundtable for this week. Tim, I'll start with you. What you got going on? Again, I'm so sorry for your loss yesterday with the Ravens, and what you got going on and everything like that, man.
Yeah, appreciate that. No, I'm just had a good show. I'll probably be out next week, but it was good to see Washington football team win. I did see it with an annoying Raiders fan there, so that kind of made me root for him louder, because I'm like, why are you in the DMV and making noise at a bar? But anyway, that's Raiders fans for you. So have a good rest of the show. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Go Wizards.
All right, thanks, Tim. Appreciate you as always. Arun, what you got going on in your world, my friend?
Definitely look out for a podcast. Sorry I didn't actually put one out last week, but I'm definitely going to touch on fantasy football pretty soon. And RG3, the news with him apparently is that he was sexually harassed with the Washington football team. I did not see that coming, and I'm kind of curious how far he's willing to go to sell this book. And it's actually, speaking of the Raiders, he did actually beat the Raiders in September of 2013, and so did Kirk Cousins. So the trend continues. Washington keeps beating the Raiders, and good for them to get the win.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate you being here. We'll see you next week, all right?
Sure. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks. CP3, we rocked it, man.
Hey, man, appreciate you hosting the NBA chat, breaking it down for the Wizards fans. I shared it to some of the Wizards groups, and I appreciate you contributing as always. Let the folks know what you got going on Spots podcast. I'm actually watching Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch right now on WWE Raw, so
Yeah, I'll be watching that in the morning. I'm glad to know that was the main event, actually. That's really awesome. I'll be watching that in the morning, but this week for No Spots, on Thursday, it'll be the second to last episode of season 2 of the World Tag League Best of Super Juniors Rewind, where at the start of the show, I will be bragging because my co-host Sage is a Raiders fan. So I will be bragging at the start of the show, but we will be breaking down this week's action in that tournament. It's 6 events over the next 7 days. They had a day off today, and then they're back at it tomorrow. So we'll be breaking that down and look at standings. Saturday will be the final podcast for No Spots of 2021. So me and Sip will be having a lot of fun with that one, breaking down NXT War Games and talking about what happens this week as well. So make sure you check that out. True No Spots Pod, No Spots Pod on Facebook, facebook.com/No Spots Pod, or wherever you get your podcast from. And we stream it live on Twitch, twitch.tv/True No Spots Pod.
All right, appreciate that. Y'all make sure y'all check them out. They breaking down all the wrestling going on all the different networks and shows. I done lost track how many it is, but they keep up. They definitely do a great job of keeping track and filling you in on everything that's going on. Make sure you check out their podcast and partners button on our website, sportsochp.com. You can fit the apparel line, cop one of the shirts, got one of the new Sports OTHP shirts I'm rocking right now. And just be on the lookout for a lot of stuff we got coming up. Appreciate y'all tuning in. As always, want to end the show with some independent music videos. Got to start it off with Renegade. Got a couple of them thrown in there. So check us out. Go follow.
Big shout out to Renegade.
No doubt, yeah, doing big things. This video, he actually shot himself, edited, produced the track, mixed the beat. He's ridiculous. He does it all. So be on the lookout. Got some things coming, things in the works. More videos coming out. Tune in at the Bar Radio Sundays at 6. You know how we do. DC Sports without the politics. It's not just a catchphrase. It's not just a motto. It's what we do. And we out.
I was down, now I'm really about to go get up. 10 rounds, now that nigga can't get up. That's what you get when you go fuck with the vision. My money be piling, we don't do division. The feds be watching, I just gotta get up. I was just down, now I'ma get up. Sleeping on me, I bet that they get up. My money was low, but now I'ma get up. Oh, bet that we get up. Pushing this weight, I'm doing sit-ups. I was just dirty, now I got my fit up. Too good for these bitches, I bet they gon' miss us. And I pack a bag if you think that I'm trippin'. I keep this shit brisk like I'm sit lipped on. Even though niggas don't know what to get on. You ain't shit, so your niggas gon' get on. Get you some pack, go make a flip homes. Yeah, I'm stuck in my bad ways. Niggas always being burned out, so I dip them all in the ashtray. I don't understand these niggas that just always talking about, yeah, they past ways. I don't understand these bitches always comparing me to they past days. I give a fuck about you, you give a fuck about me. I just be rapping for money, you be rapping for free. Feel like that I rap like a god, the reason they call me a G. I'm against all of these odds. Niggas ain't fucking with me. Never no worries, Hakuna Matata. They say that I'm hot cause the devil with Prada. I'm Soldier Boy first and these niggas gon' follow. Catching no feelings, you catching these hollows. Raul Rodriguez like I fuck with Rollo. Ain't got no time when I see this bravado. Bet that bitch shine like I'm in Monte Carlo. Looking at me like I done hit the lotto. Counting your last day, get hit up. Talking that trash, Shay on Twitter. Your bitch, she be bad, yeah, I'm with her. When she see me, her face be lit up. Boy, better go ahead and mind your business. I don't go back and forth like tenor. Run this game, I don't get no finna. But we bout to get up. 10 rounds, now that nigga can't get up. That's what you get when you go fuck with the vision. My money be piling, we don't do division. The feds be watching, I just gotta get up. I was just down, now I'ma get up. Sleeping on me, I bet that they get up. My money was low, but now I'ma get up. Oh.
Crank it up, Pedro.
I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and give her the smash. She all in her feelings, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on a move, that's a digital dash. They been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke unless I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and give her the smash. She all in her feelings, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on a move, that's a digital dash. They been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke unless I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. But I dish it like I give it and go. Counting money while I chill at the stove. How I deliver, I've been at the dough. It's up to you how business will go. That 36 I get for the look. Count it up, no feelings will show. Spend so much, gotta get it some more. When they hands out, I just give them a no. How they always talk about me, but a nigga stand out. Watch out, watch out how you really walk up to me, that's a man down. All these niggas got these drums with them like a band now. I've been doing what I want, that's what you can't doubt. I've been just feeling myself. Do I just really need help? I got my weight up. I be just telling myself I got love for all of my dogs. I take a pay cut. Some niggas really gon' ride. Some niggas really gon' slide. So go say a prayer. We ain't never got a slap 5. Nigga, just pay your tithes and call me the mayor. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in the feelings, she giving me sex. I got a slack, swell on my ass. Count up on the move, that's a digital day. They been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stage. I could never ever live in the past. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in the feelings, she giving me sex. I got a slack, swell on my ass. Count up on the move, that's a digital day. They been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stage. I could never ever live in the past.
What's up? What's up, man? I've been calling you all day. Listen. I'm in the booth. I'm gonna call you back as soon as I'm done. Give me like 10 minutes.
What do you mean you're gonna call me back? Like, I've been calling you all day. It's been hours. Like, what are you doing?
I know it's your birthday. My apologies. Give me 10 minutes, babe. I'm gonna call you right back.
No, you with them girls, aren't you? I know you're with them girls.
Ain't no damn girls in here.
So let me see then.
You gonna do that? You gonna do that to me in front of Chill?
You got me waiting on my birthday, so let me see.
Yeah, no problem. Fellas, say hello. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
We working. That's hard though.
Hey, listen. Hey, give me an hour. I'm gonna phone you. Calm down. Relax. I got you.
Hurry up.
Sometimes I don't even come hear me? I am calling now out your name, and now I know, and I'm here, and you know it, it's all just the same, and I know it's gonna be disco. Take me to a place where everybody learns, where everybody sees, where everybody shows their love. I didn't think so. You know, that's why I always play for you or me. I really didn't think so. I take a promise, I give it some love, I make a wish upon a star. You know you gotta get it right. You know you gotta get it right. Ooh. Every little thing counts now. Every little bitty thing. Can you hear me? I am calling now out your name, and now I know, and I'm here, and you know it, it's all just the same, and I know it's gonna be disco. It'd be so cool just to celebrate all the love and all the hate that's going down. It's gotta stop, we've had enough. Why can't we just live together? Peace, love, and harmony is what this world needs forever. Can you hear me? I am
Welcome to Sports on the Hill podcast. Hashtag DC Sports Without the Politics with Carol and Robbie on True Radio Network.
CPIII 3 out. Here's Sports on the Hill podcast.